Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Clydeside, Stateside, worldwide, wherever you are, wherever you may be listening from, watching from, it's time for you to, for the last time, because I swear, I promise you, I'm sick of saying it, so we will be scrapping this going forward and replacing it with something new and bright and shiny. But rise up once again and join us. The Scottish Falcons are back, episode 45. As always, I'm your host, Will the Thrill Waddle, and I'm joined by my co-host with the most, the Dynamo, Des Stevenson. How are you, Des, mate?
Yep, good mate, good. We've finally had our coach unveiled, so I mean it's interesting. Superbowl, what Superbowl? You know, I mean we're only interested in what's going on in the ATL, mate. So we finally had the head coach press conference. So obviously we're going to talk about that. But
looking forward to getting into all that.
Yeah, absolutely, mate.
And just before we do, as we always like to do at the start of a show, shout out to everyone who's been in the chat since before we have, just waiting on us getting started. So shout out to Floyd. We're going to be, as you say, going into full Stefanski mode tonight. So we're going to talk about all the good, bad, and the ugly, so to speak, of our takeaways from the presser and the interview, all that good stuff. But it's mostly good, to be quite honest with you, and that's not something we can say too often as Falcons fans. Des, Tony with the red and blacks as well, and then we have someone I've not seen before, Money 0925. Salute to you too. Good to see you in the chat. So let's just get into it then. So we'll start with the special teams news first of all. So we have hired Craig Aukerman as special teams coordinator. Are you familiar with the guy, Des?
No, not really, mate, to be honest. I mean, what I would say is that when you've got a 53-man squad, trying to remember every player in the squad, never mind some of the coaches and the staff. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we've had, for the last few years, we've had our main coaching staff and everything, so you kind of get to know the names. I mean, looking at his CV or his resume or whatever it is they call it in America, I mean, he is a special teams specialist. So he effectively was, I think he was at Tennessee for 3 or 4 years with his special team. So
he's really tenured. He's been across the league. He's also been in Jacksonville, Denver as well. He's been in the league since about 2010. So he's also quite skilled in and has experience in coaching receivers and defensive backs.
Yeah,
which is handy as well, given that that's a couple of the areas that I feel like we're needing depth. We're needing to double down a little bit. So with all that being said, I feel like it's a good hire. Again, he's 49, so it's a coach on the younger side as well, but one who's still been in the league for a minute as well, so it gives you that kind of good balance. So excited to see what he brings to the table.
I mean, effectively nothing that can't get any worse than Marquise Williams in the special teams last year. I mean, we're at a point where we know hopefully the offense is going to be the way that they create and are the way we expect them to be. The defense, it's going to be the second year of Jeff Ulbrich, so you're assuming they're going to just get. What I would say is, I think there'll be probably a drop off. They can't be. There's going to be some drop off. You know what I mean? Some sophomore slumps with some of the newer players. But the defense is in good hands. The offense, we're hoping with Tommy Rees is in good hands. And effectively, at that point, we just need, and we're at a point where we were at the start of the season with our defense. We just need an average specials teams. The way we needed it for the defense, we just need 15th in the league, 15th. That we'll be happy with that.
We don't have to be world beaters. Like, I feel like that defense is coming along a lot. And as I said in the offline group chat that we have for basically the panelists here, I was talking a little bit about the nose out of tech again, Lee Hunter, and I was basically saying that the amount of things that you can do with a guy like that, but at the same time, he's going to have that welcome to the NFL sort of stretch as every rookie does. Then you throw in the sophomore slump, the guys that are leaving, so you may have an adjustment of scheme, also the new coaching coming in as well. So we don't quite know what we're going to see, to be honest. But it's going to be an interesting kind of drafting free agency cycle. And just a shout out there back to the chat, because I see Ricky's dropped in, and it turns out we do know him. It's D Coleman. So that is a name we know. But yeah, as I say, a lot to get into tonight. But a great comment here. Seemed okay to me. Don't know much about him. Yeah, we're just kind of learning about him as well. We're kind of. I was in the study room, so to speak, today, just kind of doing my due diligence on him as best as I could. And from what I've seen, the special teams units that he's coached in the past they've not been world beaten. But as Des says, we don't need world beaters, especially not from special teams. They just need to be adequate, and we'll take that. Especially after last season, or the season just finishing up, I should say.
Again, it's all about the GM doing his. I mean, effectively, we've only got 5 picks this year again. Although we had 5 picks last year, and to be fair, Terry Fontenot struck it out the park for everyone apart from Jack Nelson. And obviously, you've now got Bill Callahan coming in, who's probably going to push Jack Nelson leaps and bounds in his development. So we've only got 5 picks. The thing that we'll go to the press conference when Matt Ryan was asked about effectively why is there not a rush to hire a GM, and he was right in saying, listen, nobody else needs a GM, so we've got time. The priority was to get a head coach in, and to be fair, when you see everything that's happening around the leagues, there is not, apart from the few at the top, there's not a big spread of great coaches that are ready to effectively become a head coach. So the fact that we jumped in quick, the NFL is looking on the Stefanski appointment. As I say, I'll put my hands up, and as we say in Scotland, I spat the dummy out. When I'll rephrase that for the Americans. I spat the pacifier out.
Yeah.
So when Stefanski was hired, because effectively he was tainted with the Cleveland Browns. So that straight away is going to affect how somebody like me looks on you as a potential excellent head coach. You see now what's happening in Cleveland, and I mean, what I would say is that, I mean, statistically now, I think in Cleveland, Stefanski only actually smiled twice in all the time he was with the Browns, and that was his first press conference. So effectively, we're already statistically, if we want to look at statistics now, the team's going to go. We're well ahead on the Stefanski smile rating, because the guy, I mean, I've been impressed. It looks as if he's grew up an Atlanta Falcons fan. He is, as I say, he is bouncing off the wall. That man is desperate for the season to start. The thing I love is that he gives a lot of definition. He explains a lot. He effectively tells you what he's going to do. One thing that he did say in one of his interviews was that we're not going to be doing the one thing, and effectively so that the other team knows exactly what they have to shut down. Now, it wasn't worded like that, but effectively it was like a swipe to me at Raheem Morris.
Yeah,
and we had our say on Raheem Morris, and Morris came out and saying that all the offense all went through Bijan Robinson, and then the few games after that, what happened? They shut the run game down. You know what I mean? he's effectively come out, and I'm just going to so I'll explain what Matt Ryan said, which I loved. He said when we set out on this process, we wanted a detailed, tough, physical football team. On offense, we want an offense that has ability to run the football. On defense, we're going to stop the run. In the pass game, we're going to affect the quarterback physically and mentally. On specials teams, incredibly detailed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm at the point where I'm literally floating at this point when I'm hearing all this, because what I would say is that if we were just expecting this is Kevin Stefanski, new head coach. Hi, this is the press. Let's all introduce ourselves. Well, Matt Ryan blew that right out of the water, because he came in and he said, this is why. This is what we were looking for. This is why we chose Kevin Stefanski, and this is where we're going to go. And I mean, what did you think about the press conference?
Well, I mean, I'm thinking we've done a lot better than Cleveland have been, as you say. And D supports our points here as well. I mean, he says that the candidates are doing word searches for the job, and I can believe that. You know that things are strange up north. And it's like, as I say, I was much in the same place as you were, Des. I was kind of worried about how long it was going to take to wash that brown stain from our new head coach. But yeah, I'm left fairly happy with it all. I feel like he said a lot of the things you want to hear. Ricky's asking why our special teams were so bad, and I just, outside of JD Bertrand's inability to hit, it was a lot. As I say, it wasn't even so much the fault of the players. As a lot of the problems were down to the coaching, and Marquise Williams was just not the guy. I feel like having somebody in here now who's been doing the job for as long as he has now, 16. This will be his 16th season. Basically doing special teams. So I feel like a lot of good can come from that. At least I say it with crossed fingers as well. And shout out to another fan that's been coming in recently. We're glad to see Jimmy Puddleduck back in the chat. Good to see you, mate. But yeah, a lot of good points from everyone, so just keep them coming.
I mean, I think with the special team, I just didn't see the effort. You know what I mean? I remember what kick was it? The punt was the point, or the field goal was blocked, and you just affected again. The season's over. You know what I mean? It was 8-9, but there was a lot of penalties on the specials teams. It just didn't seem any discipline. You know what I mean? At my point, effectively, I've seen enough of Felipe Franks. You know, I mean, I've seen effectively we need to have like if you look at Cadero Hodge, they not this year but last year, Cadero Hodge was done well in the special teams. And then effectively it was your number 5 wide receiver, and we see what he done against Tampa. That's effectively what we need. We need a bit of discipline. We need, as you say, coaching, good coaching. We need, and again, it was mentioned quite a few times. The buzzword now is accountability. You know what I mean? And there's going to be accountability there.
And a chain of command, like that's something that I feel like's been lacking as well. Is if something goes wrong, who's the guy to go to, so to speak? Because I feel like that lack of accountability also alienated or ostracized the coaching staff from the players and vice versa. And I feel like that made a weird atmosphere, and that led to sort of the Michael Penix comments or the Drake London comments. And I feel like that's been, obviously, Arthur Blank's heard this and he's went, no, I'm not having my boys sitting here and saying these things. I'm especially not letting my boys say it to the media. And that's why he's made a point of going, no, I want a president of football. I want someone who's kind of the guy that's like the go-to. So I love the Matt Ryan hire to start. I feel like getting Kevin Stefanski's been a a surprise. But now that I've seen the presser, and obviously I know how committed he is, obviously he said how much he wants to develop Michael Penix Jr. He's not obviously stated very confidently in favour of Kirk Cousins, despite their obviously the work they've done together over the years as well. So it shows that obviously he's willing to get behind his guy, which we are too. I mean, as we say, Michael Penix isn't perfect, but what can you really expect from a rookie QB with an ineffective offensive coordinator?
Well, what I would say is that if Kevin Stefanski ever wanted to leave the NFL, he would make a fantastic politician, because he says all the right things. He obviously he was asked about the Baker Mayfield comment, and effectively I have a lot of respect for Baker and the team and what he done and him as a player and as a person. You know what I mean? That what I would say is that the biggest thing I took from it is you went from Arthur Smith, who was literally sour. I mean, he'd literally just had sour plums before he came out into the press conference, right?
Yeah.
It was straight, strict. Then you had Raheem Morris, who was Mr. Joker Man, joking with everything. Effectively, Kevin Stefanski's bang in the middle. You can see that you can see the enthusiasm and the passion coming out of him, but it's all about. I mean, he said one thing about it's easy to say what we're going to do. We just actually need to do it, which is effectively what I always say, which is actions, not words. I'm not interested in listening to what you're going to do. I just want to see it on the park. And
and someone else who spouts a lot of words. I mean, I will say to the guys in the chat, like, I know we wanted this to be a nice, happy stream, and oh yeah, we've got the new head coach. But one thing that did make me angry, and I apologise to the guys that haven't finished the press conference yet, because you have to sit through it now. You will hear far too much of Orlando Ledbetter for anyone's good, in my opinion. Just going to throw that out there. I did find myself at several points just sitting watching it going, shut up, D-Led. Like, seriously?
I mean, D-Led is the only guy that's around Matt Ryan, Arthur Blank, Kevin Stefanski. Literally every player in the locker room could be in that press conference. And Orlando Ledbetter would still think he's the main man in that room. It's all about him, and that's not. When you're a reporter, you shouldn't be talking about yourself. You shouldn't be saying to Kevin Stefanski, "Oh, I'm sorry, I put Baker Mayfield on you." I mean, Jesus. I mean, what you said, instead of being ashamed of what he wrote, because it was garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, Baker Mayfield was a good, probably the best QB that Cleveland Browns had seen in a long while. You know what I mean? He took them at the playoffs twice. You know what I mean? He effectively was and he come out and call him a failure. If I was Baker, I would have had a go at that. I wouldn't have went on and said the other bit about effectively see twice a year coach. Effectively, Stefanski had nothing to do with Baker Mayfield not being in Cleveland. We said before,
he stated as much. He wanted them to be the guy. He showed his success, and I've got no problem shouting out players that I enjoy for around the league. And to his credit, Baker is a talented quarterback. I feel like he's not as a lot of guys think he's a system guy, but I don't think he's a system guy to the extent of a Brock Purdy or even a Sam Darnold. I feel like he's essentially more dynamic than either of those two guys. So, yeah, I feel like if you can get the right guys around him, then he can really do something in Tampa.
I think he's a system quarterback until the system breaks down. And then he has got a brain to think outside that whatever the play call was. He does create space. He does give himself more time. I mean, listen, what I would say is I think was it Oklahoma was it Oklahoma, when there's a bit where effectively, I can't remember what team it was, they call him out before the game, and you just see him and he goes, "Oh, is that right?" And then he just absolutely puts the whip ass on him. I mean, that's the kind of guys that I respect. You know what I mean? It's not all about.
I actually went back a couple of weeks ago and rewatched that shootout that they had with Texas Tech back when Texas Tech had Mahomes. That game was like truly one of the most fantastic games of college football I've ever watched. Just a pair of dogs, so I knew that both of them were going to be good coming out of college. Obviously, I did have concern, as you do when you see that one of these amazing talents lands in Cleveland. But no, fair play to Baker Mayfield. He's made a lot out of his career, but I feel like be careful what you wish for, throwing in things like "I'll see you twice a year," because what we're building here could be something special, especially if we get a good draft cycle, a good free agency. You know, Des?
I mean, what I would say is it feels. Listen, we've went through the last 5 years. We've had Arthur Smith and Raheem Morris.
Mm-hmm.
It now feels as if you've actually got a head coach. And again, I'll put my hands up. I literally was not for the Stefanski hire, but as I said, he's impressed me. I mean, he's doing NFL Network. He's doing a local Atlanta journalist, and to be honest, he's not put a foot wrong. He's not said anything that he shouldn't have said. He's, as I say, he works himself correctly around the media, but you can see inside him. You can see the passion. You can see the mentality of the man. And again, like some of the stuff he says he was insane about developing players. He talked in one of the interviews. He said, we're all about doing performance plans for the players, and we'll go to the players and we'll say to the players, here's where we think you can improve. Here's maybe the three parts where we think you can improve. But not only do we tell you where we think you can improve, we actually tell you how we're going to improve that in you. And as he's talking, and I'm just thinking to myself, where was this with Raheem Morris? Where was this with Arthur Smith? I didn't see this kind of chat. I didn't see this with any of them. At no point did I ever see. I mean, we had the argument as well when we had the chat, and I was kept on saying about at no point when Michael Penix went into the start for the Atlanta Falcons, at no point did Raheem Morris at any point come out and say, listen, he's a rookie quarterback. We need to be patient with him. We need to. He came out and just said, he's the guy. He's our man. We believe in him. It was like, talk about putting pressure on a young quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas you could see Stefanski coming out and saying, listen, we need to be patient. He's a young quarterback. He's going to make mistakes. But if you look at all the other quarterbacks around the league, you look at Drake May, he was tragic in his first year. Caleb Williams, I mean, they were talking at the start of last season in Chicago, whether Chicago were going to trade Caleb Williams and actually take somebody in the draft. You know what I mean? So effectively, there seems to be in the NFL a short-term memory when it comes to once these players start doing well, it's about, oh, we always knew they were going to do well. Well, the history tells you that, no, Caleb Williams, there was doubts whether he was going to get traded or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not
I guess it's particularly bad when you talk about it when it pertains to the quarterback position. I mean, look at the way Sam Darnold's been disrespected. You want to talk about Drake May? Let's talk about the guy standing opposite him in the Super Bowl. I mean, 5 different teams, and he finally gets to the promised land. It's pretty crazy. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But shout out to Georgia Texas boy as well, and this was something I wanted to point out as well. And that's when Matt came in. Hopefully, at one point we'll get you on to have a chat with us in person, because this is obviously one of the guys that's been here since day dot supporting. So Yeah, when it comes to Matt, I feel like really breaking down the vision was refreshing. I said to Des in the back before we got started, it was like a breath of fresh air because we were so used to like Raheem dillying around the point and just saying what you wanted to hear, not what you actually needed to hear, or what you turned up at the press conference to hear, and it was getting frustrating, especially a certain statement or epithet which we will not say again, because you know what it is, Des. He said it enough for all of us. But yeah, as I say, it's great to kind of see that the new era's here. Everyone's kind of doubling down and just really, really getting after it. As they say, kind of returning back to a more fundamental style of football, just running the ball, which we know we can do. Which means I kind of hope that we can retain Tyler. Fingers crossed. But yeah, as we've said before, I feel like some team's going to give him RB1 money, and it's going to be tough to match that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, so effectively, Kevin Stefanski, he came out and said that can't wait to be in the building and feel this place shaking. To be honest, I'll be delighted to actually get a big crowd in the Benz and have them actually in their seats. And again, only winning's going to do that. So he obviously talks about I'm just trying to see. So he says the easiest thing is to talk about it. We will be about that work. We will put in the work, and it's going to be hard work. We'll put in the work to being a smart football team. We will earn that toughness. I believe that physicality is earned, and we will earn that. So when you hear all this kind of thing, it's like, I mean, it's tick box exercise. But but he means it, and you're kind of looking at that and saying, I mean, effectively, and again, there was a part that he spoke about how the offense, and I'll go back again, where I always go back to the 2016 season. Mm-hmm. The 2016 season, apart from the last quarter, effectively, it didn't matter if Ryan threw the ball to Julio Jones, and it didn't matter that the other defense knew that we were throwing balls to Julio Jones. It was all about, this is our offense, we're going to do it, and you're not going to be able to stop us. Yeah. And effectively, this is the way that I think Kevin Stefanski is going to build this team. All about the offense is going to be effectively a juggernaut. And it's down to the defense to work out how they can beat us and how they can stop us. He talked about as well earlier, as I said, he talked about predictability and not being predictable. Again, when you hear, I mean, if I'm Raheem Morris or Zach Robinson and I'm sitting listening to this press conference, I'm saying that's a dig at me. You know what I mean? He talks about how it's all about, he spoke about Gary Kubiak, and again talks about how in 2018 he effectively took on play calling when he was at Minnesota, and how he was effectively bringing in a Kubiak style offense scheme while Gary Kubiak was sitting right next to him and learning from him, and he was the guy that was literally passing it on to him. He then took over in 2019. They had a great season. They went to the Browns. He then said that that's the same with Tommy Rees. He believes in Tommy Rees. He's a young coach. And again, what I would say is that effectively Nick Saban does never pick bad coaches. You know what I mean? If Nick Saban has got you in his last year at Alabama as his offensive coordinator, then I know it's the NFL and it's the college football, but Nick Saban doesn't suffer fools gladly. That's what I'm going to say about Tommy Rees. And again, how many times have we said that we would want to have the Kyle Shanahan scheme back? And the more you see Kevin Stefanski talking about his vision and how you run the ball and how he talks about not Kyle, Shanahan, talks about Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak. You know what I mean? Some of the best offensive minds that the NFL's ever seen. And then you just hear them talking and you think, my God, this is going to be this. And again, I've been there before. I always get my hope up. We're going to win the Super Bowl. We're going to be the best team in the NFL, blah, blah, blah. 2016 all over again. But I do think, and again, I'll put my hands up again and say I got it wrong. I think we've got ourselves a head coach. Well,
I think I'd agree. And I mean, ain't nothing wrong with a little bit of West Coast power run every now and then. So if that's the scheme you want to bring in, we know we've got the personnel to pull that off. We know we can do 12 and 21 sets all day, especially if we retain Kyle Pitts, especially if we retain Tyler Algier as well. And nah, Ricky, you're not tripping it. It is legit my cat, because as I've complained to Des many times, you never work with children or animals, and I don't get peace in this house to do a show. So nah, you're not tripping. It is genuinely me. I'm a bit busy talking right now, but she's trying to annoy me for.
But it's not Will. It's the cat. It's not you, mate. It's your cat.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? You're not. You've not got whiskers. You're not purring and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I played for 9 years as well, so nobody can accuse me of being a pussy.
I knew that was coming, mate. I knew that was coming.
I had to get it in. Come on. But no, as I say, like a lot of good promising things coming out of this press conference. I just feel like, especially when he's talking about development and things of that nature, it's really making me feel confident for this new direction that the team's going in. But as I say, it's a lot of. I just kind of want finality to it. I feel like it's been a long off season, a long sort of recruitment process and all that good stuff. And although obviously Lippert's back for his second interview, Cunningham's coming back for his second interview as well. So it's interesting who you want to kind of pick between those two guys. Personally, I was all in on Ian Cunningham, but I'm sort of thinking another way now, because I feel like Lippert has a lot of the same skills. But you add into the fact that Georgia loves its homegrown talent. He was born in Macon. He played linebacker at Tech. So obviously, homegrown Georgia Bowie as well. So you can do with that what you will. But I think it wouldn't harm his chances, certainly.
I mean, it's probably the only thing that I'm not. I wouldn't say not happy, but effectively we've got the Senior Bowl happening, and again, effectively, our general manager should be in by now. Our general manager should be here. He should be talking to the scouts. He should be effectively breaking down what he wants these scouts to do. And I just think we could have done it a wee bit quicker. But listen, I think looking at what a lot of people around the NFL, again, I don't really know much about any of the guys, but looking at what a lot of the people around the NFL are saying, the two of them seem really, really good. What I'm hearing as well in a couple of podcasts I had is that Josh Williams was effectively a McKay kind of. He popped to him in because obviously he's friends with the general manager at San Francisco, Lynch. What's his first name? I can't remember his first name, but I would be happy with the two of them. And again, I'll put as I said, when Stefanski was appointed, I did spit the dummy out a bit, but the one thing I would say is that I've got trust in Matt. I know Matt effectively, I guarantee, is looking at how it was in 2016, and he just wants a carbon copy of that. That's why he's went with Stefanski, because effectively Stefanski came for that Shanahan Kubiak tree. And I trust whatever Matt does. I do know that the accountability is going to be there. Matt, and again, I've watched some old videos of players talking about Matt Ryan and how he was in the locker room and how he called out anybody. Any BS, he called it out. He stopped any garbage in the locker room. He put it to a stop straight away, and that's what you're going to get. What I would say is that I've been in sales all my life, and I always worked harder when I knew there was accountability there. When I knew that if I didn't do this, or if I didn't hit that target, or if I didn't do this, I was getting marsh-booted up there, then I always worked hard, because it's the one thing I would say in life, it's good to have a wee bit of fear. It's always good to have a wee bit of fear. What I would say as well is, I think it was, can't remember what reporter spoke about it, but it was one of the interviews last year or the year before with Terry Fontenot, and he talked about how the word comfortable was used about 15 times in the press conference. Well, when you get comfortable, then that's a big issue. You need to be in a position where you've got a bit of fear, and I don't mean not bad fear, but you've got a bit of knowledge that if you don't do it, you've got accountability coming down your tracks.
Yeah, and as he says as well, it comes top down, so it's not just from Matt Ryan; it needs to be from the coaching staff as well. And he's calling out that instance from Notre Dame where he's basically cussed out the QB, and I feel like we need a little bit of that. We said that during Raheem's tenure. You're not here to be their friend. You're here to be their coach. You're here to make them a better player. And as we kind of try to be this way as content creators, and the way we present the show to you, sometimes we're not going to tell you what you want to hear. We're going to tell you what you need to hear. And that should be the same for the players as well. They need to be called out if something's not right, so that they can then fix it if they want to be part of the future of this team. Because I feel like, as Des says, I trust Matt Ryan too. And I feel like he's done a lot of obviously wise moves. When you really cut it down and kind of put it all together, it's stacking up pretty nicely. So yeah, I'm excited to see what 2026 brings. Obviously, we're going to be going into draft and all that good stuff probably more on Saturday, the cap situation and things like that. But yeah, just looking at this draft class, it is going to be as you say, it's not the deepest QB wise, but there's a lot of studs, especially down the board in a lot of different areas. So I feel like it's going to be an interesting one. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing some draft content with you there.
I mean, am I the only one that kind of, I don't have the excitement this year, mate, because it was always great when you've got a first round draft pick and you could kind of work out, right, okay, we're number 13. There's a chance we're going to get one of these players, and we don't have that now. If I'm the general manager, I'm effectively going to try and get as many picks as possible. Because what I would say is that I think after the first probably half a dozen picks, I seen that tattoo.
Yeah, you got some ink planned for you.
I'll tell you a wee story. I was 18 and I used to give out my driving license to my friends who were younger than me to get tattoos. I got to 18 and I says to my mother I was going to get a tattoo, and she asked me to promise her if I got to 21 not to get a tattoo. If I got to 21 and I still didn't want a tattoo, then I still wanted a tattoo, I could get a tattoo. I got to 21, didn't want a tattoo. I've never had a tattoo. I'm just a boring guy. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I get all my excitement.
I just feel like, we make up for it with being colourful in our language, so we don't have to be highly decorated, I guess.
I always, when I go out on a night out, I always say to people, listen, remember, I'm teetotal. I'm not drinking, so you can have mine. so they get absolutely legless. So, but yeah.
Well, there you go. The first Scottish Falcons night out's going to be fun. He's going to have to load me into the taxi home right enough, but it's going to be fun. What I remember.
I actually remember going off the topic. I actually remember getting into I was at a conference with one of my old employers. A big conference. There was like 1,000 people there, and I actually won in one of the prizes a year's supply of 30 tea bags.
Nice.
And everybody in the team were saying it couldn't have went to a better person. You know what I mean? Everybody was looking for the champagne and the whiskey and all that, all the prizes. I get the tea bags. We then go to a local pub, and we walk in, and all these leaflets on the tables where we sat down was, "I'll be Des," which meant I'll be the designated driver. So they all thought this was hysterical. My name's Des, and effectively I'll be Des, and I'm just sitting there going, I'm just looking at them getting drunker and drunker, thinking, nah, I can't be arsed with this. I'm going to my room. You know what I mean? So
do you know what? I could have done the teetotal thing, but I was a musician, so that was never really, those two really don't add up too well. But nah, it's kind of, it's one of the things where I'm more of a social drinker. I was never really too much of an anti-social drinker, and I'm sure you have the similar problems in America as you do to Scotland. There's a bit too much anti-social drinking, sadly. But nah,
I would say is that's the difference about America and the UK. I've said before, in America, it's all about when you go out on a night out, it's all about how much you can eat. Like, effectively, you go to America and you ask, order a meal, and the meal comes. And even for me, I'm a big guy. I'm losing weight, but you look at the portions, you think I'm not going to finish that. You come to the UK and it's all about, you go out on a night out and it's all about how much can you drink, how you drink. You know what I mean? That's how there's like a food culture in America and there's a booze culture in the UK. So it's probably one of the big differences, I would say.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, let the guys know I'm happy to go to the Barbie and have some fun when I come over. But mainly, I just want to try some of that soul food. So when I get over, I'll be going to restaurants before I hit up any bars. That's for damn sure.
Jimmy Puddledunk said that I should grow a beard.
That's a good shout. Like, we should all grow beards in solidarity now that Stefanski's got the job.
I'll tell you I'll tell you another story. I had a manager once who interviewed somebody, and the guy had a beard, and he actually told the guy that if he employed him, he wanted him to shave his beard off. Mm-hmm. The guy didn't trust anybody that had a beard, and we thought it was crazy. You know what I mean? So, and you weren't allowed to have a beard you had to be clean shaven at all times. But so I'm getting off on a tangent. So
no, that's fine. It's like sometimes we let the chat just kind of lead us and we follow. It's fun to do that, and I'm with you there, Ricky. Like, as I say, I make no secrets of that, so I'm with you there. It's a lot less damaging to you. So the only real damage I'm doing to myself now is watching the Falcons, I guess. But hopefully that will be remedied this off-season with any luck. We can't shave until we win a Super Bowl. You're going to have some Methuselah beards on the go. It might be a minute.
A wee bit of ZZ Top going on there, mate. You know what I mean?
Oh, dear. Oh.
That's another thing I was thinking about as well, because, and again, statistically, I like statistics. So, Kevin Stefanski's our 20th head coach in 60 years. So effectively, we go through a head coach every 3 years. 3 years.
That's a crazy one. It really is.
When I seen he was the 20th head coach, I thought, well, 60 years, it's no hard maths. You know what I mean? It's literally every 3 years we're appointing a new head coach. So let's hope Kevin Stefanski changes all that.
I really hope so. I mean, it would be good to really double down and spend some time really building just something solid that we've got a good base that we can continue to build from, and hopefully take it into years going forward. And as I say, a lot of the squad, a lot of these star players are right in that, 23, 24, 25 sort of age group. So we're right in the mix to cash in on their primes and obviously, hopefully make a run at that Lombardi that we all crave so much. But
and again, when you look at how Kevin Stefanski, and again he spoke about Kyle Pitts, how Kevin Stefanski uses tight ends. He uses them really well. So again, that's a sign that effectively Kyle Pitts might be here. What I would say is that if you look at when he was talking and everything, as you said, when he was, I've got the transcript here. He spoke about Michael Penix. He says, Michael is somebody I'm very excited about, and his rehab is what's most important right now. When it comes to Kirk, obviously, I have a previous relationship with Kirk, but I don't know if it's the time yet to talk about all positions. So, to be honest, mate, I think if you actually look at that, I don't think at any point Kevin Stefanski is thinking, has got it in his head that he wouldn't like to have Kirk Cousins back. I think he would. But I think Kirk Cousins has let it be known that he's not staying, mate. And effectively, that was a guy that was moving on from the conversation. Because if you look at it, Kyle Pitts is effectively a free agent. But he spoke about Kyle Pitts and he discussed what he liked about Kyle Pitts. When he spoke about Kirk Cousins, it was literally move on to the next thing. Bearing in mind, he's got a relationship, a long-term relationship with him. So I think it's came to a point where when Kirk Cousins signed his amended contract, he said to the Atlanta Falcons, I'm going, I'm not staying, so don't plan on me being here. Because he literally just moved on. Again, the other thing we need to talk about as well is obviously Michael Penix has come out with an interview with Zach Klein and said that he believes that he's going to be healthy and ready for week 1.
Yeah. I'm a bit not paranoid, but not even out and out apprehensive about that, but I'm filled with deep concern. Just a shout out to Scott Steele-Orphan there down in the chat as well. Kevin does have the tools to work with a solid front office, as I say. With all the coaching changes that we've made, if we can get the right staff in place, I feel like he's got every hope of succeeding. He's given me no reason yet to question that. And as I say, even the Tommy Rees hire, I feel like the guy's got some tools that we've not really seen yet. And it'll be good, as I say, he's again one of the younger guys that's coming in, so it'll be good to really let him kind of cut his teeth, so to speak, and see what he's really got as well. So yeah,
he's only, he's 33-year-old.
You
know what I mean?
So like a baby in coaching terms.
1992 he was born. I was already working in 1992. You know what I mean? So that shows you how young he is. Shows you how old
I know it's how I think I know I'm getting old. NFL coaches are starting to get younger than me. No, the players, the coaches. It's time for me to retire, man. I can feel the grey hairs coming. It's been a good season. Peace out, y'all. Much love.
Have you seen the new videos, the new memes going about the new videos? It's all about, they're asking people, when were you born? And they're going 2002. When were you born? 2004. And it goes to another boy and it goes, when were you born? And it goes 19. And all these dinosaurs come up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We had the greatest generation. We had the generation before the internet. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, we
were that really cool we were the cusp kids. We were the last ones to remember a world of no internet, and then we watched it rise, and now it's just terrifying.
Aye. It is. But I think, as I say, I believe in Matt Ryan, and everything that I've heard about and what I've seen about Stefanski and how he's his mannerisms, how he appoints himself in media, and everything he talks about how he wants a game to be. It's like exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So If he believes in Tommy Rees, he obviously sees something in Tommy Rees. So effectively, we're at a point where it's not the same as what happened with Zach and Raheem, because Raheem was mostly a defensive coach. So effectively, there wasn't anybody there to help Zach Robinson along. Whereas with Tommy Rees, he's effectively in the same position as Stefanski was with Kubiak. He's there. He's going to watch him. I guarantee you during the week, he'll be working with Rees to develop these plays and how he wants the game to go. And hopefully we get to a point where we don't run the football 2 or 3 times and then get stopped and then, right, okay, abandon it all. That's it, over. Let's just start expecting Michael Penix Jr. to be a veteran quarterback and punt it right down the field. You know what I mean? I think Rees and Stefanski are going to. It's going to be. I think this is a game changer for Michael Penix. I think this is going to be, the development's going to be there.
I agree. Not to mention, obviously, the fact I may have mentioned it on the last show. The fact that now it's official that he has Matt Ryan at practice to go, look, if I do this, blah 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 blah, he can run real situations in real time through. Just it's another sounding board, but it's going to be vital, I feel, to his development. And obviously coming off an injury as well, he says the prognosis is good. I'm concerned, as I was going to say earlier, that I don't want to rush him back. That is the one thing I don't want to do. And that's where I get into, as I've said before, bringing in maybe a Trey Lance, a Malik Willis. I've even seen it I think I've seen it on X yesterday. Someone said Carson Wentz, and I went, it's not the worst idea. It's not the best, but it's not the worst.
Well, see, to be honest, mate, if you look at it, we need a really, really good backup. You know what I mean? I mean, can anybody remember who Matt Ryan's main backup was for the good few years? Matt Schwab. You know what I mean? Effectively, he was a starting quarterback. You know what I mean? So we need somebody like that for Michael Penix Jr. He's got injury history. You know what I mean? We might need to effectively bring him along slowly. From what Arthur Blank said, and Matt Ryan has said, and Kevin Stefanski has said, Michael Penix is the guy. There's no doubt on that. Kevin Stefanski spoke about it, about how he can do all throws and all that kind of stuff. Looking at a few of the clips when he was playing last year, his footwork needs to improve, because I think he's fallen over himself sometimes. So again, I think there is going to be a lot of development there, but we need maybe like a Carson Wentz or a Jameis Winston, somebody that effectively is happy as a backup, but is ready to come in if anything goes wrong. And it's not effectively Kirk Cousins at the money that he would expect. So somebody like that, you know what I mean? If you want to maybe look at the other side, which is Mac Jones, you know what I mean? If Mac Jones was there, I actually put something out on X the other day. I wasn't saying I thought it was a good idea, but I put out and said that, can anybody remember who Tommy Rees's quarterback was at Alabama, which was Jalen Milroe? And he's a backup at Seattle Seahawks. Again, he's not getting a game with Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? So again,
it's an interesting conversation, because I mean, he knows how Tommy Rees runs an offense, and I mean, that's something we can maybe do. And if you guys in the chat are into it, you know what to do. Drop your red and blacks for us. But if you want Des and I to really break down what a Tommy Rees offense would look like, we're more than happy to do that for you. A lot of good examples up there from Avian. Cam Newton spoke about it as well. But if you want Des and I to go into it, we're more than happy to do that, because I've seen some things myself that, as I say, it's not perfect. He's not the best at scheming against certain packages from the defense when there's a second high safety, but he drops and things of this nature. but he's a hell of a lot faster at adjusting than Zach Robinson was. And as I say, and as Jimmy says, he's went to the Bucks now, so we're glad to see the back of him. But no, there's a definite shift. Having watched Z-Rob's offense all season and now getting a little look, and it's against our defense. I've seen that offense play. I don't know if it was a conjoined scrimmage or something of that nature, but yeah, it's good to see what our defense actually does in real time against it. So let us know if you want us to have a look at that for you guys, and we'll get that done. And there's an option here from Ricky as well, Will Levis from Tennessee. I don't feel like he's been given a proper shake, to be honest. I feel like Tennessee's like a New York Jets. It's tough to excel, but I wouldn't say no.
I mean, I think Sam Darnold has done for people like Trey Lance and Zach Wilson and Will Levis. He's done for them. I mean, effectively, these guys will buy another couple of houses based on Sam Darnold, because effectively people who would, I mean, like Trey Lance has been wrote off, Zach Wilson's been wrote off, Will Levis has been wrote off, you know what I mean? Malik Willis has been wrote off. Effectively, everybody, I mean, I'm telling you that now, 2 years ago, I remember watching Sam Darnold and saying to myself, that guy, the best thing for that guy to do is just retire. He's made a bit of money, just retire. There's not a chance that he's going to make it in this league. And then he lands in the right place with the right OC and the right head coach, and bang, there you go. That's how I'm excited for Michael Penix Jr., because I do think that Stefanski is the right head coach for him, and I think he will develop him with the Tommy Rees OC as well, as Tommy Rees's OC. But effectively, everybody in their granny had wrote off Sam Darnold, and now he's going to the Super Bowl. And to be honest, I put the Seattle Seahawks as the reason I was so into getting Clint Kubiak is that when you watch and you see how it's just changed overnight for Seattle Seahawks, that's what it felt like in 2016 with Atlanta. And effectively the scheme's the same. I mean, they remember, if anybody forgets, we were, I think it was at 22-22 at the half against the Seahawks, and they then came out in the third and fourth quarter and absolutely demolished us. So effectively, the thing we never seen with Zach and Raheem as head coach was we didn't see adjustments. We never ever seen adjustments. Now, again, I'm putting my hand up and saying the way Kevin Stefanski talks and the brain that I can see that he's got for football, that's not going to happen with Kevin Stefanski. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As you say, the football IQ is through the roof. Just because he's done it so long. As I say, it's tough to be a two-time coach of the year in Cleveland. And I'm going to throw up some of these for Mad Mike down in the chat, always showing love as always.
Absolutely.
As I say, there's a lot of good stuff coming up. And it's while I'm going to take a wee aside and digress just a little bit, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about what's coming up in the future from this little, I won't call it excuse me, I won't call it a rebrand so much as an expansion. But now if you go onto YouTube at DSF Sports, you'll get the new hub where Des and I will be doing our non-AFN content. So that's all the stuff to do with the broader NFL, college ball. Des will be doing some baseball. I'll be doing some basketball. We'll be talking about some wrestling, maybe some MMA, some boxing. We'll also be looking forward to doing Scotland World for the first time we can actually say that. So maybe it was a wee premonition getting this show on the road when we did. But now that we've got our first full season of Falcons ball out of the way, it's time to kind of throw our hat into the ring a wee bit and really put it out there into the world of sports. So if you want to subscribe to the new channel, just give us a shout out, as I say, at the SF Sports. But yeah, before we kind of wind things down for the night, I was going to do a little bit of talk about just draft class standouts or kind of acquisitions and specifically, but we've kind of went into that as far as the quarterback position, kind of as far as QB anyway. So what I'll kind of say is, obviously from what I've seen, and I've seen some of the guys down in the chat as well, I think a lot of the dudes want to talk about receiver. So that's a position I know very well. And if you want a physical freak, I know you guys were talking about Brazil, but you want to take a look at Nick Harbour out of SC, South Carolina as well, because that dude is an absolute freak. Both of those guys are kind of, as I say, your Calvin Johnson build, like 4.3 speed, but being like 6'5", 230. So if you want, as I say, to pair that with what we're doing with Drake and Pitts, that's something interesting we could look at. But I feel like, well, I've said it 1,000 times, Des, you know my guy for round 2. It's going to be Lee Hunter, knows how to tech. If I'm the GM, that's my round 2 pick. If he slides, I'd be running to that, running to make that announcement.
The one thing you know is that everything changes. Like I'm trying to remember the guy that everybody had us, the boy out of Marshall last year, the edge. He went, I think, 24th or 23rd or something. I can't remember his name, but nobody really spoke about him until the Senior Bowl. And then he literally started showing guys around at the Senior Bowl, and he then moved up the draft class. You won't really know where everything stands until effectively the combine and all that as well. You get the 40 times. I think if you're Stefanski and you need a nose tackle. Absolutely, you need a nose tackle. But we need some sort. We effectively need a Darnell Mooney, but an uninjured Darnell Mooney. We need somebody who has got like a 4.4, 4.5, 40 time that can literally batter it down the field. We know Penix has got a good arm, so that's probably one of the things. But again, it just comes down to effectively, if you're Stefanski, you're going to look at Kyle Pitts. If we tag him, you're going to look at Kyle Pitts as your number 2 wide receiver, and use him like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we go down the tight end route as well in the draft. The cornerback, we need cornerback. You know what I mean? So effectively, there's again, if Bill Callahan's coming into the O-line, I said in the last show that Bill Callahan isn't just coming in to just develop the veterans that we've already got. He's coming in to bring on new guys and develop new guys. So obviously we've got Jack Nelson there, so that's beneficial. Ryan Newsell's good, but again, there's always improvement. Jake Matthews effectively has got the longest active streak in the NFL player. That's going to, at some point, that's going to change. You know what I mean? He's 32. He's going to start hitting. You then look at Caleb McGarry. He's been injured. So where does he stand? I know I've seen a few videos and he's been in the Falcons at Flowery Branch and everything working out. So, but how far along is he? You know what I mean? We haven't heard anything about him. So will he be ready for the start of the season? Again, we don't know. So there's a lot of things to talk about. But the one thing I would say is probably for the first time in a long time, we're not talking about edge. you know what I mean? We're not worried about effectively edge players and how good they are or how bad they are or anything like that. We've got our edge. And I think we've got probably really good defense, just need cornerback. I think probably further down the draft, maybe a safety as well. But the main thing we need, Ball's just kicked off, the main thing we need is definitely a nose tackle. And again, it's all about stopping the run. And effectively, if Bill Callahan comes in and does wonders with the O-line, then effectively that's going to help Bijan Robinson with the run game, and we can move on from that. So hopefully we'll get Will back soon. You back, Will?
I am indeed. Sorry about that, guys.
Fine.
Just go ahead and remove the other me from the stage.
Oh,
there we go. So I'm just having a wee look there, back at what some of the guys were saying. Talking GM now, are we?
No, yeah, I seen Manuel putting, let's get ready to meet a new GM. Hopefully Ian Cunningham. I thought it was Ian Cunningham. So a lot of things normally happen when we're on the show, mate.
Yeah, that's what we were hoping for. So I think in a way, it's good that we're kind of just doing a wee short one tonight, because it means we can get off and keep our eyes back on the news desk. But yeah, shout out to Emmanuel as always.
We're set to name him tomorrow, so effectively, as I say, I'm happy with whoever we get. I think Matt Ryan knows what he wants from this team. I think Stefanski knows what he wants from this team. We just need a GM to buy into that, and I think it's going to be exciting times, mate. I think the season, when it happens, is going to be good. As I said before, if I'm a GM, I'm literally, if I have to trade down in the second round to get more picks, as I said, after the first half a dozen or after the first dozen picks, effectively it's a same old as you go into as you go down the order. You know what I mean? So try and get more picks and try and get another Billy Bowman Jr. in the third round. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, I feel like there's, and that's the thing with this draft class as well. I feel like there's maybe no out and out superstars put in particular, but it's a great draft to build depth through. And I feel like that's where the Falcons need to kind of be looking, because we've got a lot of positions where we need to obviously build depth with those guys that are aging, or where we just need more players at that position. Receiver was, I'm not going to mince words, receiver was a bit of a joke this year. Cornerback was okay, but as you say, you do need that true guy opposite AJ as well. And linebacker's not off the table as well, especially if you get rid of Bertrand, you get rid of Troy Anderson. You do need a backup for Divine Diablo as well. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go, but I feel like receiver's going to be premium. So that I'd be surprised if we didn't go receiver first. As much as I like to throw my oar in, so to speak, I think it's going to be receiver in round two. And I feel like,
I'm sorry, mate. I think there's going to be a lot of changes. Obviously, this GM that comes in, this GM's no loyalty. Matt Ryan's not getting any loyalty to the players either. I think Troy Anderson's gone. I think Clark Phillips will be gone. I think as well. You know what I mean? I think there'll be a big turnaround. Some of these drafted players with Terry Fontenot that have not done it and effectively haven't. Effectively. I don't think Clark Phillips. I think he was injured quite a bit, and they always say best ability is availability. Troy Anderson's gone. I don't think we'll see him at all, because again he's just too injury prone. And I think it's all about getting as many picks as possible. I think this year, draft down from the second round if there's not really anybody there that we want, and then try and get as many picks. What I would say is Stefanski did say about developing players, and we had a conversation in one of your shows a while back, and I said, at what point is it the general manager for drafting that players rather than the actual coaches for developing the players? You know what I mean? So that, and I think he'll take that on board. There was a comment he said, I'll work with what I'm given, and I'll develop the players. So the way he looks at it is, it's like, listen, you give me anybody and I'll make them a better player. And we had that conversation about we need a head coach that can make a good player great, a great player exceptional. You know what I mean? And an exceptional player world class. You know what I mean? That's what we need, and I think Stefanski will do that.
I really, really hope so. And I can see a lot of shout outs of different receivers, different guys that y'all are interested in. So I love to see that. And just to let you know that obviously there will be a lot of draft kind of breakdowns coming. I've not done quite enough of my due diligence yet, but there's a lot of guys that I'm looking at receiver wise. I like KC Concepcion as well. I think he's great. There's a lad Surratt as well that I like the look of. I think he's coming out of Indiana, is it? But yeah, receivers class are stacked, and there's some burners. But I was looking at some of the 40 times back when I think it was episode 40 I was on with Vinny. And yeah, there's some true 4-3, maybe even 4-2 guys in the mix. So, and there's so many receivers this year that you're going to be able to get one down the board as well. So, as I say, if there's a position where we can maybe try to trade down, get a bit more in, as you say, just build up the squad, then that's maybe the wisest decision. Yeah, given that we're going in with only 5, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I mean, as it pertains to Stefanski and the building staff, I'm here for it. I'm really excited, and I know you are too. So, guys down in the chat, as I say, it's an exciting time to be an Atlanta Falcons fan for sure.
Yeah, I'm just going. I'm looking at the Seahawks record last year.
Yeah, no bother.
So the Seahawks. Let me just see. So 2000. I'm trying to see. I don't think it was a winning record because they sacked it. But yeah, listen. What I would say is, if there's any team that you could say is probably could be the Seattle Seahawks and turn it around, it's Atlanta Falcons. I mean, they've got weapons everywhere. The defense is going to come on again next year. So listen, I seen that Jimmy Puddleduck said this is the most excited I've been as a fan in the last 9 years. Looking forward to it unfolding. Yeah, I mean, it's as I say, I've been here too many times. That's the problem. I'm getting to a point where I'm just expecting the badness to happen. So, but listen, we can dream. You know what I mean? We can dream. Let's hope. Let's hope this is
nothing wrong with hoping, I suppose. But yeah, like we're going to be here every step of the way anyway. So all we can really say is that we hope you guys enjoyed season 1, because there are still plans in place to close out the season in style with a watch party for the Super Bowl for the guys that aren't going to be doing something for the big game. So that's something you want to see, then you can obviously let us know. We'll bring that good stuff to you. But at the same time, as I say, it's all going to just be doubling down now, draft and free agency, all that good stuff. But we're also doing some grinding behind the scenes because we're going to double down and bring in a better quality show to you guys going forward into 2026 as well. So if you ain't set by now, you better get Falcon set, because there's a hell of a lot to get through. But as I say, Des, is there anything you want to add before we shut things down?
No, I just think we've got our head coach, mate. So I'm optimistic. I would say I think everything that I've seen from the Stefanski press conference and all the interviews and everything that I think we finally found a head coach after probably 5 years, mate. So let's see how it all pans out. I'll start looking at some of the draft players and seeing who I think we can maybe look for in the second round, and maybe on Saturday we can get into that a wee bit, mate.
Yeah, would love to. And if you guys are interested, then I may or may not do the Royal Rumble as well, because I can see some wrestling chat starting down there as well. I don't know who I've got for the Royal Rumble just yet. I would need to have another wee look around the plane, so to speak, see what the playing field's like. But
yeah, I'm MVP, or I mean that's probably that's when I started. I was still watching wrestling when MVP and all that was still
Like
there.
there's a couple of guys still kicking from that era. We've still got Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio. They're still gone, but apart from that, though, a lot of those guys have kind of chucked it now. But no, I don't know why. Sometimes I do it to myself. Because I've lost a lot of the love I used to have is gone, but I still watch it. Just kind of, I hope they'll prove me wrong at some point. Almost, you know, you get old and cynical with stuff, but I digress. But no, as I say, appreciate all the love you guys are showing on the show as always. If you do want to join us and earn your kilt, then you know what to do. You can contact myself or Des through the socials. So where can they get at you, Des, if they want to continue the conversation?
Yeah, just I'm on X at Scottish Falcons. So again, I think I'm still close. I'm quite close to 1,000 followers. So if anybody's not fell out with me yet since kind of went off in one way, Stefanski, then you can follow me and obviously hopefully watch the movement as it gets closer to the special occasion. Hopefully, you know what I mean. So, but nobody can say we're glory hunters. That's for sure. You know what I mean?
No, certainly not. And as you know by now, we're neither glory hunters nor are we lazy. We promised y'all a high quality show, and to that we hold. So we always try to bring you the up to the moment kind of breaking news in the A and the good, the bad, and the ugly, as we like to say so much. But for all the pain and all the misery you put us through, we do still love our ATL. And before we wish you good night, Dirty Birds, we would remind you as always, I should say, that pain is international, but so is passion. And believe you me, we're just getting started. Des, thank you for joining me, mate. Much love to the chat, and we'll see you next week.
See you soon, guys.